The real reason it's not working. You've set goals, you've done the rituals, but the real wealth that you want is taking forever. It's not showing up fast enough. It's really slow. That's not a strategy problem. That's a mismatch identity problem. Until you become the person who already has the wealth, you will continuously chase money. You'll keep chasing it and it won't find you. Money doesn't respond to effort, it responds to identity. The universe isn't confused about your desires, but if you keep showing up as the woman who's trying to get there, that's the frequency that you are locked into. That's what you're going to attract. Once you declare your desires, it's literally locked in the quantum field. Like, it's done. Everything you want, I always say, is sitting right here. It's just a matter of unlocking it, but it's sitting right here waiting for you. The problem is most women try to figure out, well, what is the how? How do I get this done? How do I unlock what's sitting right here for me? This is why I came up with my book, Unlocking the Quantum Woman, because I'm showing you how to unlock the quantum field. Get this book if you haven't already. So for many women, they want to know, what else do I need to do? What other actions do I need to take? What are all these things that I have to get done before I can start receiving the things that I desire? But that is coming from a really hardcore masculine energy. And the way that we receive everything is in the feminine. We go and do masculine things, but to really receive the things that we've been like putting out there into the universe and like requesting and asking for, that's not done from a masculine place. That's done from a feminine place. And this is where most people have it wrong because they feel like they got to go do something in order to receive. But most people forget that in order for you to receive what it is you desire, you need to be that energetic match for it. And it has to match that version of you that is receiving the wealth. I always say, like, money does not make someone wealthy and rich. It's like they have to have that frequency with inside of themselves all the time. And like a woman who attracts men all the time, she's got a frequency that men take care of me. Men are always taking care of me. She expects that. And if you could adopt the same thing with money, money always takes care of me. Money's there to support me. In order to become that version of yourself that is truly receiving and knows that money's always there, these are some questions I would love you to ask yourself. Who is she? What does she do? What does she believe? It's really, who are you being instead of efforting and overdoing? That's that masculine. And the art of really creating that reality that you know exists out there comes from receiving. So what I would do is I would reframe the things that you desire, that you want to call into your world from a place of alignment and not something you actually have to do. Like, it's not a task you complete. It's getting into like that emotional connection with the desire that you're calling in. So I'll give you an example. This is why when people write down 500 times, I've seen this manifestation thing like 10 years ago where we like write down 500 times the thing that you want. And then people would say, well, I didn't get it, because you're just doing something. It would be so much easier if you wrote it down once, but you actually emotionally connected to the result, that you really felt it as if it was real and you were being that person receiving the things that you desire. You already had them. And this is where a lot of people stump because they don't realize it's an identity shift. It's a frequency you have to get into. It's not like when I get that thing, it's going to make me feel a certain way. You got to feel that certain way and then you're going to get that thing. And I think it's just our conditioning that we think that we have to do to get, but you don't always have to do to receive. Many people are calling in money from all different places, opportunities. The thing is, they don't know how to do it on repeat. And so they don't know how to do it in their businesses, which is what I teach. They don't know how to do it in their everyday lives on repeat. And when you can start to use this frequency and energy to call in clients, to call in opportunities, to call in money, it's a game changer. You don't always attract what you want. Instead, you usually attract who you are and what you're being right now. And a lot of people think that they've got the cleanest energy in the world. They're like, oh, I've been, I cleaned this up and I've just been sitting here, ready to receive. Meanwhile, their subconscious mind has a whole different story running around and their nervous system's not regulated to receive. They got a lot of things going on they don't even realize, and they think it's hard. And when it's not working, then that just adds on another layer of like, okay, this is not working. What am I doing wrong? And this is not it. It's like, who are you being? A person who has full faith and belief that something's going to work out, they're not going to sit there and question the outcome. They're not going to sit there and go, well, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? They're going to know it is on its way, because that wealthy version of them already knows that rich and wealthy version is just expecting it. They're not sitting there going, well, it's not coming. So they've already got into the identity knowing that they get to have the thing that they want. They're not sitting there saying, well, it's not working. Who am I to receive this? They're not going down that rabbit hole that a lot of people go down that keeps them stuck from actually receiving what they want. Real quick, if you want my daily money-making moves of a CEO PDF,
so that you can now have power over money instead of money having power over you, click the first pinned comment below or find it right in the description. You'll be able to show up more powerfully with money and build your confidence with wealth. I give you actionable steps so that you can get in alignment with money and increase your monthly income. And the best part, you can get started right now. Enjoy, and let's get back to the video.
So your thoughts, your beliefs, your past experiences, your emotional state, the regulation of your nervous system, your neural pathways, and what you believe about money. Do you have a big fear around it, receiving it? Are you, do you think rich people are bad? Do you fear losing money? All of these things go into the pot when it's coming to like attracting the wealth that you want. And so I actually believe when you have no money or you're not worried about losing money, you've come to a place, well, I've lost it, got it. You don't have that fear anymore, is when you really can regulate yourself to receive more and believe it's on its way to you. People who have hit rock bottom and created more money, they know that, hey, I didn't die when that happened, right? I made it. I knew how to make money. But it's like, how can I get into the state of feeling wealthy without the money? I remember, doing so many different things to get my mind to believe that the money, one, was there, two, that I could receive it and that it was coming into me. And I had to become that wealthy version of myself. And this is not fake it till you make it. What it truly is like being in abundance and having the most abundant mindset, which means healing all your scarcity and lack and all the trauma that created those reasons why you have fear around money. And so I believe a lot of people are teaching it not the full way. They're just telling you to write things down and hopefully it'll work out. But a lot of us, including myself, that stuff didn't work. I had to really go deep. So this is how I look at it. If we reverse engineered where we were, so the version of you right now, that person that has everything, can you see her? Do you know what she looks like? What is she thinking and feeling? Because that version of you, that's who's already created. But are you really that version of you right now? Because if you're not, then how are you going to attract the wealth and the success and everything else that you want? And I know this concept is like hard for some people because they're like, look at my reality right now. Well, you have to stop looking at it because that's already done. We have to create something new. So your reality and what you're creating, it calibrates to who you really are, not who you hope to become. For me, this is the hack. If everybody got this, it would just be a game changer. But I know a lot of people don't want to do that inner work. They want to figure out like, hey, what's the thing that's actually blocking me, or why don't I feel regulated? Or why do I have this fear around here? Why do I have these belief systems? Because a lot of people think, well, I see everybody else doing it. Look, we're all different. We have different experiences. Everybody has a different relationship with money. So many things change our circumstances. If your mom or dad was not there, there's how much abandonment did you have? Did you have betrayal? All of these things come in. I know when I see someone who has had a lot of issues in their lives, abuse, whatnot, they have a harder time with being able to get into that wealthy state because scarcity takes over. And so they've got to work extra hard in order to get into a really abundance mindset where they're not living in the lack. And that was me. I had to do that deeply. And now that I'm here, I realize that money, when it comes in, sometimes provides a false sense of safety. Sometimes I always say, even if you have the money and you can't spend it, that's like the worst kind of broke because you have this fear around it. You have to get into a state where you're like, I am this wealthy, rich person now. Raising your standards, what are you allowing in your life? All of these go into creating that identity. And sometimes we think, well, when I get there, then I'll feel rich. No, you got to feel rich and wealthy now. So here are some signs that you're stuck in your old identity. I think it's really good for you to recognize this because then you'll be like, okay, where's the starting point and where can I go from next? Because a lot of people are like, what am I doing wrong? And I thought I was abundance. I thought I was an abundant thinking person. I thought I'd healed all this stuff. Every time someone comes, works with me and they join my millionaire club or my wealthy CEO, they're like, I've done years of work, but I haven't done this work. I'm like, I know, because I'm here to help you break your pattern. And when they do, highest cash months come in. It's just the most amazing thing to see them have that shift in their business. I don't want you to have shame about this either, because shame is going to be like a blocker. You know what? You did the best you could with where you were, with what you had. And we all are doing our best. So just kind of put that shame, blame game and that guilt aside. This is what I want you to do. You keep thinking wealth is on the way instead of seeing where wealth is right now. I tell everybody the greatest hack is to do a gratitude journal every single day. You will find wealth in so many different areas of your life that you'll stop thinking you aren't wealthy, and you'll start expanding yourself into so many different areas that you're like, wow, I'm actually really, really wealthy. And you have to stop thinking that it's on its way. Because when you start thinking how wealthy you are, you're going to attract more wealth. Here's another thing. You make decisions based upon your current bank account and not your future bank account. Okay, Shamina, what are you talking about here? Okay, I got you. You got to keep your eye on what it is you want to create. Listen, I would open up my bank account and I would screenshot it because I'm like, this is not my final destination. Some days it was 000. Sometimes it was negative. Sometimes, it was shaky. It was on life support. And all I could do was kind of chuckle because I was like, you know what? This doesn't mean anything. But what I started doing instead of running from that, because that's all I did before, I'm like, I'm going to keep watching this because what we watch grows. And so instead of me being afraid or running away from my bank account, I started looking at it. I started being like, you know what? This is okay. I'm going to watch this every day. And guess what? It grew. Not just by watching it, but it made me see that, you know what? I don't have to fear my money. I don't have to fear my bank account. Start doing this because not doing it, you're really giving power to your current situation instead of like getting into the place of like, no, this is not my final destination. There's more money coming. I already know there's more money coming. I'm going to screenshot this. It can be put in my book. I'm going to tell everybody about how it changed my life. Get into the storytelling. You're going to look back and celebrate. It doesn't have to be everything. If you got $20,000 in there and you want to make it 50, 60, or 100, or even $1 million, get into that state. Okay, and here's another thing that I see so many women doing it. They shrink their desires because they seem more realistic, because they're afraid that it might not come through and they'll be disappointed. And so most women that I work with have not reached a level of emotional mastery to allow themselves to be disappointed. So it's one of the biggest sticking points for them. So they fear even going big enough until they come work with me in my groups and they're like, thank you for holding space for us and allowing me to regulate my nervous system around going really, really big. A lot of women put these self-imposed limits on themselves. And of course, the stuff's not going to come because you're playing so small. You want to have a soft letdown instead of being really let down. Listen, when you learn to master emotions and regulate your nervous system, again, my program, Accessing the Quantum through Emotional Self-Mastery, you're going to allow yourself to dream a little bit bigger, go a little bit bigger with your desires, and then start receiving really big, and then being able to hold on to that in a big way. Here's another thing. You're trying to earn instead of receive. So you think if I just do more, I'll make more money. Yes, make more money. I'm all about making money. I think it's essential. It's incredible. However, what if you started turning on the receivership of it? Because receiving is where the cash is coming in. That's where the true wealth is coming in, is when you've done the work and then you sit back and you allow yourself to receive. Have you ever seen someone pray, or they put it out there and like, okay, I just saw something recently and it was like a woman who was praying. She said a prayer and then she stopped and everybody looked at her and she said, well, and now we wait for the miracle. And so she did the thing, and then she's allowing herself to get into the faith of it's going to happen. And I think a lot of people miss that part because they're not sitting here open and available to receive. And again, the women that I work with, they've got these shields on their hearts because they're not allowing themselves to feel all the emotions. So they're not letting things in at all. They've got blocks for receivership. And hard work doesn't always equal wealth. Let's throw that away. I work so hard. Da, da, da. Okay. Well, there's a lot of people that work hard that aren't millionaires yet, and they may never be. Hard work does not always equate wealth. What does is working smarter and being able to use all of the things while you're working. You do the tasks and you receive, you energetically get in alignment, and then bam, you're here at a new level, receiving way more wealth than you could ever imagine. I can't tell you how many women who have said to me, wow, Shamina, I stopped working as hard and I started making more money. I'm like, duh. Because if money's masculine and the way you receive it's feminine, if you're constantly hustling in that masculine energy, you're literally pushing money further and further away. You're chasing it. This is not the way. So do this shift and things will change. Your current life is an echo of that old identity. The faster you shift into this future new identity now, living in it, let me tell you, your external environment catches up. Have you ever heard of like making mind movies or, putting things on your phone, things that showing you like, hey, this is my reality right now, and being able to like absorb it as if it's your truth. You're living from this final destination, like this outcome. This is where it's at. When you start feeling, using all your senses, of course it's going to catch up to you, and it's going to catch up to you fast. But remember, the emotional part is the key to the energetic frequency of calling in and receiving what you want. Trust me on this. I've helped over 344 women hit their highest cash months in their life and business. This is going to work if you follow these methods. The shift, step into your richest identity now, right now. I always say when I upgraded my standards and the way that I saw the world, my bank account followed. It's really important that you understand this. Shift into this identity now, and things will start changing for you fast. And if you need help with that, you come work with me. Listen, that version of you already exists. Because if you think it and you're feeling it, that version of you already exists. You've got to trust that. You just have to stop ignoring her because she exists right now. Identity collapsing is like this. It's what we do with quantum leaping. There's a version of you that's happening right now. She's already created the reality around her, right? Then there's a version of you that has everything that you want in the quantum field, and she's created that reality around her. The faster that you become this version of yourself without needing the things to make it happen, but doing the internal work, the energetic work, getting into the frequency, that's how you collapse time. And you bring your future self to you and your current self to your future self faster. This is what I've done. And this is what I help everyone do. And let me tell you, when you do that, then you're like, wow, I can do it that fast. And this is where your quantum leaps start happening. And you don't have to wait days, weeks, months, years to get the results. They can happen faster and faster and faster. But you have to be able to do the identity shift now. I want you to start thinking about this, and I want you to drop in the comments too, your version of yourself. How does she speak? What does she believe about money? Does she have a good relationship with money? Does she fear losing money? Because all of that stuff needs to get cleaned up, because the rich version of yourself, she's not worried about money. She's not stressing about money. She's not thinking about where's money at, because she knows she's rich. How does she respond to the fear? Because being anxious, not being able to invest, not being able to you spend your money, feeling guilt about it, going out to dinner with your friends, and then everybody's trying to like split the bill up because you got all this anxiety over money. Rich version of you is picking up the tab. I remember thinking about this all the time. I said, when I get rich and wealthy, I'm going to pick up the tab. But then you know what I started doing? I started doing it before that. Not with a full tab of dinner, but like when we go to Starbucks, I would offer to pay for my friends, because that's what wealthy version of me would do. I would have so much money that we wouldn't have to sit there and have to decide who's paying what on the bill, because I can't stand going out with people who do this. To me, it's one of the worst things possible to sit there and have to like cut up a bill. Rich version of you, what is she doing? Right? How is she operating? And what does she tolerate? Because when you have a high standard for yourself, you don't tolerate much. You do not let people into your space that are going to negatively affect you, going to drain you, that are scarcity mindset, people who are trying to oh, I didn't have anything to eat, I had water, and then they're eating your appetizer and they say they didn't have anything to eat. Those cheap people that are out there. You're not hanging out with those people. What are you tolerating and what aren't you? Are you going to allow people to come to you and complain and be negative? Because every time that happens, you're letting someone mess with your frequency. So I have a no tolerance rule. Like, for people to get into my inner circle, it's a big deal for someone to get in my inner circle. But guess what? The moment that they go into that scarcity and I didn't see it before or anything, they go right out of that circle, because I will not let someone mess with my frequency or my money. That's a non-negotiable for me, because I know how I'm feeling and what I'm emitting and what I'm energetically at. It's creating everything. So I'm not going to allow anybody to come in and mess that up. So people with their scarcity mindset, they got to go. I can't handle them. You're not allowed to come over here. You might be able to come out here, but you're not allowed inside. That's a non-negotiable. What is yours? Drop it in the comments. I want to know.
If you like this video, please give it a like below so that we know that you enjoyed it. Comment any questions you have and I'll answer ASAP. And if you haven't yet, it's time for you to stop holding yourself back from the more that you've always wanted. Hit the subscribe button and then turn all notifications on so you'll never miss a video. All right, let's hop back into the video.
When you act from her, money just rushes into you. You start changing. This is where the overflow happens. You're like, oh my gosh, I got this tax return. Oh, I can't tell you how many times I've heard women who start doing my work. They're like, all of a sudden money came out of nowhere. Clients who owed me money start paying me because they have their money on lock. But once they come and work with me, they freeze up. You got to act like her now. Here's an embodiment practice to have an identity collaboration, because it's important. If you're able to embody that wealthy woman now, it is like quantum speed, things that happen. So let's calibrate your energy right now. It takes less than 1 minute. Are you with me? Okay, close your eyes, ground your energy, breathe in and out, calm yourself, bring yourself down, bring yourself down. Now, this is what I want you to say to yourself. And you know what? For those of you, because everybody needs some heart opener, like everybody, this is going to help you receive. Put your hands on your heart. Say this: I now choose to show up as the woman who receives with ease. Inhale deeply and exhale the old. Visualize a future moment that's already done. Feel into it. Feel that now. Everything that I've created, I've done this. This is why I teach emotional mastery. It is the gateway to getting everything that you want. Because when you can feel that it's done, the universe, there's no mincing of words. The energetic frequency is there. Bam, it shows up. And this is how you collapse time. Let me know in the comments too, one thing that you're going to start doing this week that your future self in the quantum field, who is already wealthy and rich, is going to do today, that you can start signaling to the universe this new identity of who you are. Because guess what? She's there. She exists. It's already there. Act like her right now and tell me what you're going to do. Make a declaration. Put it in the comments. I want to see, because I read everything and I want to see what you're going to do right now, because it's a frequency, right? You're going to go be her.